on.
Yay! Welcome.
Hey, Larry, Senor
Good to see you.
Lawrence,
Good to see
Monsieur
you.
Lawrence. We're here again. We don't have a guest this time, but we're coming up with one soon. We promise. We're coming up
Yes.
with a guest soon. In the meantime, over here we have we're going to have a little bit of a shortened show because it's actually tax season, and
Yes.
I was talking about this here. The concept of like, even though we have all these programs that can scan, copy, and then you see them, the apps that said, put all your receipts in here, Intuit and all the other systems. If you're disciplined enough to keep doing that and doing that regularly, then no problem. But if you're like, all of a sudden they just come at you, it's like, well, we got a bunch of receipts, or we're accumulating stuff, or like last minute, we're like downloading all these PDFs or getting all that stuff. And then you end up with a stack of printouts.
Yeah. Then it gets inconvenient.
It's very inconvenient.
Yeah,
And sometimes,
but
as
if
they
you
say,
do it,
just
yeah. 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Every time you get a receipt, it's not hard, but yeah, it's still
But
not.
even then, so I get a receipt. I still have to have a physical method of converting receipt into stuff. A lot of the cases I've been saying for my receipts, how they say email my receipt or doing
Yes.
that. Those are great, but not everyone again does that. So
Right.
I know now, like if you're like, for example, like a CVS and all those other kinds of tools, they do have them. The problem is that when you do that, then you miss out on the coupons. I don't know what it is. CVS is the one, like, it's like going
With
to
the
Vegas. You
yard
put in a
long.
coin and you have all the coins come out. You basically, when you hit print, you get all that paper for the coupons. And it seems like when I don't do that, I don't get all the same coupons. I'm like, what are they trying to make me do?
Incentivize.
They're
Yeah.
incentivizing my create the paper piece. Not that I'm going to use them, because out of like 20, I'm probably going to use 2 of them, right? But the 2 are really key. They're like dollars off of whatever. So I'm going to get those. So I have we end up with those papers. You go and you pick up stuff. Sometimes the doctors will have, the things that are on the PDF versions. If you have, I try to get to I've actually changed to a doctor who's at least their systems are more technically inclined. So I have those, as much of those as possible. And then every other paper, that will usually be somebody sends one of those tax forms and everything else. And sometimes they're available online with certain systems.
Right.
Sometimes they're not. Now, it'd be nice if, like, at some point, all of these tax forms are sort of put in a way where, like, it's got a identifier in its mind. I'm a tax form. And then you tell the AI, well, here's me. Here's my profile. Here are my accounts where all my tax information are likely to come from. Go get it.
Go get
it. Brings it
Right.
all together, and then it looks against the tax, because it knows the tax law, because it has visibility to that, and it says, well, you got everything except for this and that. You better go get it. An example, maybe you had contributions to your charity or to a church or something. You probably want to go get those, because chances are those are probably going to be physical forms, or at best, perhaps they're technically inclined and they have a nice PDF. My church actually has a nice PDF. They only send it if you have a certain threshold. Well, I don't care. Give me all of it. I'm itemizing every last bit. So they're like, well, we'll only send it. Well, can you just email it? Okay, we'll send it to you by email.
Yes.
Fine, but I had to ask for it.
Yeah.
So now I ended up with a piece of paper, because it has to match all the papers. Otherwise, I can't give like partial electronic and partial paper. It's either going to be all electronic or all paper. So now
you got to print out.
Right. So you remember what we were saying with moving data around? It's like, if after all, sometimes it's just convenient just to bring the brick with you going places. This is exactly that. So that's my appointment for later, just to drop it off. Now, the cool thing is I drop it off. Now everything is all of a sudden online and everything else. So you miss that interaction. You may or may not miss that interaction with your tax person. If they were like, if your interaction with your tax person was like looking at you as like, you're spinning on this stuff, or giving you that look like, okay, yeah, the stink face look like, yeah, right. I don't know about you, man, but I'd never do whatever it is that you're doing that you think you're doing for your taxes. I told you don't do that, but you did it anyway.
We talk about AI, right? TurboTax and things like that. They're really AI. They have been forever. They've been, expert systems that automatically suggest, certain things.
Yes, in fact, that they've been around. They have been around a while. So, what were we just talking about just a little bit earlier? What is AI? AI is essentially a switch statement that's grown up, right?
Right.
It's just
It's all
it's like
about pattern matching.
pattern matching. So the simplest pattern match was the switch statement. I mean, not even an if statement is not really as much. The switch, I think, is the best example because you essentially you have a list of things that I'm comparing against, and then one last little piece that says if it's not any of these things, do this. So what's the AI doing? The AI is looking at these patterns, and it has like it inside because it's so advanced can look at nuances of said patterns above to the point where like it will find everything up in this area first before he even gets to that so-called I don't know what the heck you're talking about. Or I don't know if you saw the news of that. If you ask Bing, the search engine
Right.
or
Yes.
ChatGPT, it's like, well, how do you feel about being an AI? It basically will cut off your conversation. Did you hear about that news? Where
Yeah,
it says we're not. I'm sorry, I'm not
recently.
talking. This
We're not talking about
conversation is
feelings.
over. It actually said this conversation is over, and the conversational thing is like, what? But
Yeah.
that's clearly not a feeling or whatever of the AI.
No,
That's essentially the pattern. They see you're talking about feelings.
we're
Cut
done.
it off.
Yeah. They've limited the number of sessions that you can have. They've been overloaded for a bit, but back in the day, gosh, the late 80s, 1980s, right? Not 1880s, but late 80s when I was in college and first learning about AI and expert systems, the sort of canonical expert system was, guess an animal. So think of an animal.
Yes.
Okay. Have you got an
Right.
animal in
I
your
got
head?
it. Yes.
Is
Yes.
it a duck?
No.
No. Okay. So what is it?
You're going to ask me
Yeah.
what it is
Yeah.
right away?
Just what is it? Yeah.
It was a cat.
Okay.
Only
It's
because
a
of that
cat.
tells
So
you.
so tell me a question that I can ask that will differentiate between a cat and a duck.
Uh, does it fly?
Okay. Perfect. Great. So now think of an animal.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Does it fly?
Nope.
Is it a cat?
Nope. I changed the animal.
Oh. So okay. So what is it?
It's a dog this time.
It's a dog. Okay.
Right.
So tell me a question that I can ask that will differentiate between a cat and a dog. And see, what I'm doing is that's building out a tree. That is an expert system. And that's
Ooh,
how expert systems are built. We
yes.
just keep asking questions that differentiate between the real and the expected.
Right.
And that's the simplest form of an expert system. And it's really easy to code. And it actually will build up to the point that, depending on how many questions you ask,
Yes.
it can build up to the point that it's fairly accurate.
That's true. I
So
mean, there are tricks, those magician tricks where they're like it said, pick a card, any card, and they figure out what your card is.
yes,
It's sort of in that area, or sometimes pick a number between blah and I'm gonna think, how did you know? What did you do? All of those are pattern recognitions. People can be fast with it, but
yes,
now machines can do it, or for that matter, you can actually program a system to actually do it.
for
How
sure.
about it?
So anyway, one thing that recently I wanted to bring this up because it's interesting to me, and it reminds me of the fact that we need to keep saying the same things over and over again. Okay, it's okay. It's okay if
It's
we say the
okay.
same thing that we said last week and last year, because there's still people out there that haven't heard it.
True enough.
Okay, because I've got a new contract that's starting week after next, and I'm going to be going in and advising this major company about their software development lifecycle. They're wanting to migrate into the cloud. They're not in the cloud yet, and they were asking, well, what would you do first? What do you want to do first? And so I started asking them questions and found out that they're not currently using any sort of an automated build process. They currently
It's not
have
surprising, though.
no,
It's not surprising.
it's
It
not
seems like a lot
surprising.
more people are not fully automated or even quote
Oh,
unquote
they're not even
automated at all.
really partially right. So they have people that on their desktops or on their laptops build they get latest, they build, and they push to production.
Ooh.
That's crazy. I mean, come on. Back in like long time ago.
Well, when we started this show, at least
well before we started the show, we were building out pipelines. We were building out the idea that you would have some sort of an automated way to pull, without human fingers involved.
Yes.
Pull the code from the source and push that binary into an environment.
Yes.
And they're not. And they've got, several hundred teams that are working on software, and none of the teams have any automation. And it's just like blowing my mind. But thinking about it, it's sort of like, if I talk to my mom about, say, Scott Hanselman, she doesn't know who that is. Right. Most of our listeners hopefully probably know because they're in technology, but it's sort of like being internet famous, right?
Yes.
You can have niches where people know everything, and
there's all these so-called influencers that I've never heard of ever, but they're apparently making millions of dollars, and we're like, what are we doing here?
Yes. Where are we missing out? But I look back, so I'm gonna show some books here.
So
this is programming in Ada back in the day. So this is from 1989, and John Barnes is one of the authors of Ada, and he wrote this book. And I actually met him, and I've got his signature. He signed this book.
You got to sign the book.
Yeah, because that was a big deal to me at the time, right? Yes. Because Ada is a programming language that probably nobody's heard of now, but used in the military. It's still actually going. I went down a rabbit hole. I got so deep I couldn't see the sun earlier today, prepping for the show, because Ada is still being used, and it's still an ongoing concern. There's a new version that came out in 2022.
Holy smokes!
Yeah. The other one is programming Perl. So this is can't get my book up
for the AI.
Yeah, can't get my book up.
Here we go. Perl with the camel, right? Yes, I see the camel.
With the camel. So yes. Larry Wall.
I'd walk a mile for a camel.
Yeah, I met Larry Wall at a conference, and so this is, I've got the signature and the little pad. He's got stickers. There's more than one way to do it, and a camel down here in the bottom. But it's signed because again, Perl is a programming language that's been out for a while, and he's internet famous to me.
I claim to fame. I'm not sure if you can see this one over
essential.
here.
Yep.
Right, and take a look who that is. That person over there. And you might, for folks who don't know who Aaron Sconnard is, his claim to fame is Pluralsight.
Yes.
A little video training thing where he brought some folks in. He moved out to Utah, and he made very well. And yes, I do have his autograph on this one as well.
There you go.
It's one of his first class. Hold on a second. Yep, that's Aaron's at Develop. Let me see if I have his actual. Here we go. Check it out. Let's see if we can see it a little bit better. Hold on a second. It's blurry.
You're getting blurred. There you go.
There we go.
XML equals freedom.
Equals freedom. That was the time when we were like, freedom.
Right.
That was it. And there's Aaron's signature. Okay. Aaron, I'm sorry, I'm giving you your PII information out there, but I'm pretty sure since then you're doing MFA, so you should be fine. Right, Aaron?
Right. But the deal is, right, these are things that within our community are important, right? Yes. And they're touchstones, but in the broader world, they're not. And we still have people that have not joined the Agile or not joined the cloud native kind of culture.
Kind of the idea of like the architecture, remember, like the 5.9, the 12 and everything else. There's some folks that have yet to embrace that. They're still going on whatever paradigm that has pretty much existed since literally programming started.
Right. And so it's important to continue to evangelize and put that message out there, because new people are joining the community and wanting to join the community every day. And so for all of you out there that, all three of you that are listening, if you if you get imposter syndrome and you think, well, nobody wants to hear what I've got to say, right? I've not been doing this but 3 years. I don't know anything. No, there are people that haven't done it yet. and you always have knowledge that you can give, and you can, by having done it for 3 years, you've been doing it longer than they have. And so
Yeah.
you can always help them up. So,
Oh,
sometimes you
here's
just need a Sherpa. You need
so
somebody to help you over
yes.
the humps.
Here's the other speaking of camels and humps, but here's the thing that's also interesting. Even though it's something that you think it's being rehashed, when you actually talk about it, can make a difference. So
Yes.
I talked about, maybe we were talking about XML 10 years ago, and
Hmm.
now we'll talk about XML today. So some of the core basics and everything else about it may be the same, but right now, the context of how something gets used, maybe the use cases and all that stuff, probably have changed because the world, literally, and the whole environment of how everything works has changed. Right.
Yes.
So there could be tools that make it better, or there could be like your experience now is different than someone else who's used it. My favorite when some people were like talking about use cases for example, automation for workflows. Yeah, workflows usually when somebody's trying to approve something. Said, yeah, you're literally talking about one and only one use case. Workflows are not. You don't equate workflows with approvals. You work. I happen to know that you apply it to a whole bunch of stuff, but this is the case where like maybe when it came out at the time, this was really all it was, and that's
Yes.
all it had. That's all you knew. Say, hey, I'm going to talk about workflows. Well, I'm not any different. Well, when was the last time you saw a workflow thing, for example? 2 years ago. Are you going to give this today? Yes. But they've been talking about this for 2 years, right? But every day for 2 years, I bet not. There probably is going to be a gap. You are now going to be the filler of said gap. How about it?
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Oh,
Well, and it's like it's like the the thing where someone brings in a big jar and
yes.
fills the jar with golf balls
Okay.
and
Yes.
asks if it's full, and everybody says yes, it's full, and
Yep.
then they bring out marbles and they pour marbles in, and the marbles fit between the golf balls, right? And then they ask, is it full? Well, yes, it's full. And then they
Well,
bring out sand and they dump
right.
sand in there. Is
Ha.
it full now? Yes, it's
Right.
full.
Well, hold on a
Then
second.
they,
Wait a minute. Why did you say it was full earlier? Then
yeah,
come
and
back. You're going to have to now. You're going to have to rethink.
redefine what full means.
Yes.
And then they pour
Yes.
water in, right? Is it full?
Is it
And
full? Is it
we are
safe?
always able to fill those gaps, and those gaps of
There
knowledge and
are
things.
always gaps to fill, and it's
Yes.
almost like some. Remember, I think I saw someone that said, "Hey, all life, everything we know in the universe are all holograms." So,
Yes.
what do you mean? They're hologram? Well, technically speaking, we're all tricks of light, right? We happen to have there's the concept is that our molecules at this scale all look like something that even when we try to do something with it feels solid, but in truth, if we went down to that small level, there's like
They're not.
so much space out there, so much in between, and all it is just like, well, how do you see an item? Because light reflected on it, hence the
Hmm.
hologram concept. So it's almost like the science saying that, well, if we're just pieces of space and light and all put together, could there be a way to maybe push it
Break them
wherever you
apart.
want to push it at any
Yeah.
time? Now you're
And
talking sci-fi, not so sci-fi, but sort of now thinking in the science of where they say, yeah, given X and Y, yeah, that's possible. But of course,
yeah,
the assumption is first to understand that there is going to be space.
we're
There is
definitely
nothing. There's
we're
something in
definitely
there.
more space than stuff,
Yes.
right? If you mashed all the stuff down, it would probably not. I don't know. For a human being, if you mashed all the stuff down and removed all the space, I bet it would be something that we couldn't see. I bet it would be, so small that we couldn't see it.
That's possibly true. It's like
I don't know.
we're essentially. You remember like when you see those pictures, like something turned to powder or something because you
Hmm.
burned it up and all that. You essentially removed the space from it. So
Yeah, remove some. Well, but I mean, even between
ashes.
the electrons and the neutrons, if we just
Yep.
break it all down to protons and neutrons,
Right.
and well, anyway, sorry.
Well, yeah. So, like I
Well,
say, they're orbiting it. We
yeah,
understand that they
they're
may be
orbiting. There's a
orbiting
lot of
also.
space
Well,
there.
but that's space in there. But if you all compressed it all,
Press all that down. Hmm. We need a
Mm.
physicist.
We need
a physicist.
we should look into getting a physicist to say, hey, all this stuff that's going on, is it real? I think the first question, my first question to a physicist, if we had one here, is like, are we real? Are we living in reality, or are we just in the Matrix? What's going on?
So speaking of physicists, did you know that Albert Einstein was a real person? I mean, he was actually a living, breathing human being. I mean, no. I always thought he was a theoretical physicist.
Oh, that was a dad joke. The ultimate dad joke right there. Theoretical. He was theoretical.
Yes, theoretical physicist.
Oh, okay. Raquel, you hear that dad joke? You can use that one. Feel free.
Yeah.
I know Raquel is going to use that one. Somewhere, shape or form. I got to show you something. Since we're talking AI, I'm going to do one screen share because we can't go by the show without at least one little screen share. So here we go. Share the screen. Share the screen. Maybe I will just share a window, but let me just share the screen because it's safer. Here we go. You see what I have? Of course, I have my widescreen.
I see it now. Yes.
Yes.
Azure
OpenAI. We were talking about ChatGPT and everything else. Guess what? Essentially, Azure OpenAI is now available. This is not. So it's not new, and it's new. But technically speaking, now it really is. Let's just say it's grown up.
It's repackaged.
It's repackaged.
I mean, a lot of that has been in play for a while. I mean, we did sentiment analysis on text.
Yes.
Object tracking.
Yes.
We were doing. You could feed Azure a video, and it would tell you which actors, were in there and how much screen time they had. It could recognize actors that it knew, and if you tell it an actor, it would be able to show you that actor in other scenes, even if they had changed their appearance.
Yes.
So that was 5 or 10, 6 years ago at least.
Ooh, check this out. Look.
So
I'm
there we go.
Here. Security and compliance for the AI.
Yes.
Are we surprised to see these guys down here?
No. No. Speaking of taxes.
Speaking of AI pieces that the folks are looking at, or regular or compliance issues that need to be dealt with by any quote unquote responsible. I like this. Responsible AI. Here we go. Responsible AI. Gotta have it. Look over there. Here's some pricing over here. I want to see it. But I like this over here. Start for free. Pay as you go after 12 months. Customers innovating, and you'll notice that this is you see that picture over here.
Yeah. GPT-3.
There's my low code happy stuff happening under the covers. Wait a minute. GitHub Copilot, AI, your AI friend while you're doing stuff.
Yes.
Here we go. Here's CarMax having fun with it. KeyPro having fun with it. I'm just trying to see what else we have over here. Here's the documentation. Here's how to connect. Start building and see. This is what I think it was originally. Cognitive services. In fact, I think they didn't quite update everything on this page because I think OpenAI was cognitive services. Frankly, let's go see. Let's learn more about what's available over here while we're at it. Clicky click. And general availability, OpenAI service. And this, look at this date.
There we go, 2016. Yes, but I mean, if you look at the timeline,
right?
AI breakthroughs, September 2016 was when they started.
Yes.
That's when this particular tree.
Microsoft achieves human parity in conversation speech recognition. So that was like literally a few months after my youngest was born. It was talking to us. Human parity in reading comprehension. Yes. Okay.
That was when they were getting the sentiment analysis.
It finally passed the Evelyn Wood speed reading course right there. No problem. Remember Evelyn Wood? Yes.
Yes.
Actually, so speed reading was a thing, and we actually had a course for that. Let's see. What do we got here? In 2019, here we go. Neural machine translating. In July, OpenAI exclusive partnership. This is 2019 now. So 2020, Turing NLG language, a 17 billion with a B, parameters.
With a B, parameters.
May 2020. This is like we're having our show during all these times here.
Yes.
The AI supercomputers built in. All right. Now 2020. Oh, here we go. This is where they were doing this stuff. This is, by the way, the AI modeler and all that stuff came around here.
Right.
And I was showing this stuff off even back here. It was in preview mode, and then it was all of a sudden everyone's using it. They were charging money for it, but it was like, wow. But that's because it was already implemented over here. Here's June 21. What happens? GitHub Copilot. Oh, that's just last year, or we're a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago.
Here we go. And
Azure
then, of course, during
AI
Ignite, they talked about this one. This is what we're looking at right now. Here's when they introduced it, the actual item. And then they opened it up, the service, to more models. Then GitHub Pilot became generally available. I remember, I still have it. Here we go. And of course, now here's some new names you got to start learning. DALL-E, and that's basically Wall-E, but not Disney. I'm waiting for Disney to say, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, that's too close to our stuff. We want our money. Who knows? We'll see.
No,
Maybe
that is reminiscent of Salvador Dali, the painter. That's what it's.
That's really what they're trying to do. Get it, DALL-E.
Yes.
But they're clearly, they're clearly, though, Wall-E is in somebody's area, so it's like, it's like a wink, wink,
wink, wink, and a nod.
Right. Meanwhile, I have some friends from actual people that we know over here talking about it. Here's a responsible approach. Here's how to get started. There's a nice little video on how to get started. We apply for access, how to create the service resource, how to get started in generating text. So this is actually, you know what? If there's something you want to play with over the weekend, you got nothing to do this.
Check it out.
This actually looks fun.
Yes.
You saw us playing around with like making a script for Raquel on her show. Take this one to another level. Do some bits on here. In fact, I have a feeling that everything that people do now, before, remember how I said like everything is basically runs around data. And so even though we'll look at apps, be sure to have your data pieces that go with it. Everything that you do has to be mobile first. Everything has to be ALM first. In other words, you're building something, it better have ALM built in. When you're doing something, it better be ready for mobile or for any platform. You're doing something, it better be resilient and do all stuff. You know what's next? If you're doing something, AI. It better have an AI component to it, at least, if not the hook, but like how to say it, the room for it to sit, right? If a bot were to sit on your app or your solution, what would that bot? If you want that bot to like not rip you to shreds, essentially, what could you do? What architecture could you employ so that a bot could make the best use of you or use you the way you want the bot to use you?
So let's think about old school programs, okay? Yes. Old school programs like kind of like the one that you're using right now. You're using Internet Explorer. It's an old school program. It has a menu. It's in a different place than we're used to having menus, but there is a menu available.
Edge, but like this is the grandchild.
The menus in the top right-hand corner, those 3 dots, the ellipses, that counts as a menu, and you get to drop down and pull all those. Why build menus when you can have natural language processing built into your system when you just ask it to do something?
Exactly.
I mean,
speaking of natural language.
Speaking of natural language, let's come back and look at
ask questions, get complete answers. I think we were learning about this over here earlier.
Yep.
We did this last time, right?
Yes, we did.
I think we did. We were trying to do this like I'm planning a trip. What are the places are within? So let me just we'll try this one, for example, just to see it.
Yes.
All right. So natural language over here. It's like I am writing a movie script that I would hope would win an Oscar. What do I need to know? Let's see what it does. Check it out.
How to write a movie script.
How to write a movie script. This is the first one that comes out. How to write a movie script like an Oscar Awards winning screenplay writer. That came up first. That is almost spot to what I asked.
Yes.
Do you think that maybe somebody asked the AI that exact same question, so it came up there? Or did the AI really put everything on the internet together? Because you saw how fast the results came, right?
Yes.
I didn't wait. I didn't see a little Cylon saying by your command coming up and trying to think. This just came up. By the way, I did this over
you asked the question in a way that that sent you to the right type of article, rather than having to learn your, Google foo and Bing foo, where you have to put the keywords in certain orders and
in a certain order
with
a quotation mark with like certain sometimes combinations. It's almost like you had like a cheat code for, remember Yahoo's and those places. They had cheat codes that you could put into the search so that it sort of filtered things.
Well, I mean,
showed you things.
Bing has it as well. You can do site : and give it, Microsoft.com, and you'll only see results that come from Microsoft, from that website.
Yeah, but that's not
intuitive.
In.
That's not intuitive.
If I said I want to find technical information on Azure only from Microsoft.com. If I said that exactly, in fact, let's go see. Let's find out if that happens. I'm going to go back for. I'm just going to go open up a new one over here. Just going to go to Bing. I want to keep this one because I'm probably, maybe I'm going to write a movie script. Who knows?
There you go.
Let me go to Bing one more time, and I'm going to say show me Azure portal documentation only from Microsoft.com. Just see what it does.
Yeah, let's see.
The very first thing is the Azure portal documentation.
Yeah, scrolling down, that's from Microsoft.
Azure portal, tech community, social. I haven't seen. Look, you know what I didn't see? Did you see somebody else here?
At
the very bottom?
I don't. I see Azure.
Nope, msportal.azure.com. I did not see. Like sometimes you'll see somebody's blog, like an MVP or somebody talking about it.
All of those are.
It did it. It did that. It did the Bingy pieces of it. Well, of course, now I got to see what the heck images it shows up. And this looks like images from Microsoft. Let's see what videos showed up. In fact, let's see. So some of these some of these will go into some of the other people here.
Right.
But of course, they're further down the list. Is there a map, really? How does this map out? I'm just curious. When you say map, what the heck does it show? Show me Azure. Oops, there are no results. This is correct. You know why it's showing me Dallas? Because that's where my ISP for my VPN for my company is sitting.
Yes. Interesting.
But this is good. This is correct. This is true. Why would you give me a map for something that has nothing to do with anything? In fact, the old search engines used to like take portions of that and say, well, let me look for Azure. Hey, there's a place called Azure Lake, and that shows up because the word Azure showed up, right? Without any context that says, I don't care about a lake. Don't you see that I'm talking about documentation about a computer program? No, I don't see that because I wasn't smart. Now I am.
Now you are.
Whoa.
Cool.
Let's see what I have for chat. It says chat. No, let's go to chat. I just want to see what it says. Chat mode is available only when you have access to the new Bing.
Ooh.
It's not on here yet. I'm on the wait list, by the way.
Join the wait list.
Check it out. I need to throw a dinner party because it's going to be like this. It's going to be chat mode. I was kidding. I use that. Sure. This is the chat mode. Remember I said where it has feelings and all that stuff? This is the one that I was talking about earlier.
Very nice.
So that's chat mode. Ooh. And
soon
finally, there's more.
To a
more shopping, flights, travel. Now, none of this stuff should apply to any of this, except perhaps, I don't know, maybe shopping. Nope. Good. It's doing the right thing. I'm glad that it's not, trying to squeeze a result of something that has nothing to do with nothing and letting it go. This makes sense. The video stuff makes sense.
Yes.
And then of course it's putting it in order. So this is the one that I usually get pain from. Ever ask for documentation? Then it shows you stuff from like 2017.
Yes.
What's this? Show me how to code a What's a good thing? What's a good pattern to ask for in code that people do a lot?
Show me how to code a sync sort in Rust.
So we have a sync sort in Rust. And show me only the latest techniques. Let's see what it does.
Let's see.
My sentence is really weird. Okay, those are videos, but look at this. That looks new. Let's go to all.
Sorting. How to sort a vector in Rust.
How to sort a vector in Rust. This looks. Let's take a look at the date of this. How current is it? Check it out.
8 years.
8 years and 2 months ago. Modified, but though here, I think it's looking at this.
Modified 2 months ago.
So it might have been asked a long time ago, but as far as it's concerned, because this was modified 2 months ago, chances are, in fact, it probably, because it's Rust, it's been around a while. What could have changed in that particular sync sort? Perhaps something, because if somebody updated this 2 months ago, that means
they added a Rust example probably 2 months ago.
Yes. Okay. So here we go. A practical guide from 2020.
See, so it actually is not doing a great job. Sync sort.
Yes.
It's thinking async. So instead of sync sort, let's do a bubble sort. How about that?
Show me. How about this? Show me a recent article. Our article from 2022.
Right. You've got 2 A's and it's
show
BL.
me a recent article from 2022 on how to code a bubble sort in Rust.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why I can get rid of this.
Give it a shot.
Right. See what it says.
Hands-on data structures and algorithms in Rust. That looks great. Bubble sort example in 59 seconds.
But it's possible that there isn't anything new. But notice as it starts getting through, there probably isn't anything new. It's giving me what it can from, let's say, show me only recent articles from 2022 on how to code bubble sort in Rust. Let's see what happens.
Check it out. 2022.
It heard me at least.
Bubble sort, insertion sort, selection sort, and Rust. There we go.
So this is better now, because now I don't want to see a 2017 technique. I'd like to see a 2022 technique, which means somebody's learned, and then whatever latest techniques and other better ways of doing something would be here. Yeah, it's going to show me the older bits eventually, but the first thing it came up with is impressive. That matter.
Pretty good. So we still have to learn how to speak to it, though, in the right way.
Yes.
So there still is some Bing foo and some Google foo that goes on. You have to know how to ask the question in a good way.
But I have a feeling that's what that conversation, the chat thing that they're talking about.
Yes.
I think that's the one that knows. This is still a search engine, if technically speaking. It might be leveraging OpenAI for certain pieces. However, though, it's not fully.
It's not right.
It's still a search engine. It's still maintaining its, let's just say, backward compatibility.
Yeah, it's pointing you to external resources as opposed to providing you with an answer.
Exactly. Oh, I'm looking at my time over here. I have.
Yep, we need to run.
I have my time. I have a few minutes left. We have enough. At least, hey, we saw some nice stuff over here. I'm going to hit the. Let's stop sharing. Stop sharing. But sharing is caring. I'm so sorry. I'll stop sharing right now. But hey, that was actually pretty good. We had a trip down there, so we have a thing to do. We can play with Azure later. We saw that we can actually write a script that's going to win us an Oscar. So there we go.
Absolutely.
Might actually. I wonder if I might do that instead of doing the AI thing.
Actually, just what you need to do is get into ChatGPT and just have it write the script for you.
Well, which we did. Remember that one time?
Right.
One example was the script. So we're just curious, Raquel, if that script ever comes out and becomes an actual show, you will let us know, right? We don't care for royalties. We just need to know.
Because knowing is
we're saying it here live that we don't care for royalties.
We don't care.
We just want to know. Oh, Raquel's checking with her lawyers.
Oh, I forgot that my mic has a separate on button, and so I forgot to turn that on. Sorry.
No worries.
So no matter how techie you are, we always still forget to unmute. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so let's bumper us out and let Mr. Ralph get on the road.
We'll get on the road. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you, Sir Lawrence. And next time you come, I hope you are not an AI. I hope you're for real. We'll see ya. All right, everybody.